welcome back to the show. Today, we're starting on the engine. Welcome back, my name is Mouse, and we'll get it right this time. No, we won't, yeah we will. This is my Rover 100. Today is all about trying to get this head sorted. Unfortunately, I have just broken something, I'm unsure. I don't actually know how to get them out. So, we're actually going to jump over to the really messy bench. We're going to see if I can figure out a way to get must be the guide, the valve stem guide. I've got the valve stem seals, but unfortunately I've never actually done this before, not to this detail. So we're going to jump over to the bench to start with, and we're going to see if we can get the valve stem guide out. It's broken on this one, but I'm hoping that we can get it out, and then we can get it actually off the other head once we get the head back in the engine. So once we've done that, we'll jump over to the Metro and put the engine in. So let's get cracking. Right, so as you can tell, I busted. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a look, see if I can find them. I've got a friend who knows more about this engine than I do, so I've just sent him a picture asking what it is. I'm pretty sure it's either a liner or maybe a runner. Obviously we can't use it because it's all broken at the bottom. If there's a way I can actually salvage one and get one out of the other head that will be taken off in a bit, I will. But for now what we're going to do is we're going to take these valves out, because all these valves, well, the end two set of valves are actually bent, these two aren't. So we might just leave them two in. No, we won't, we'll take them out because we'll replace the seals anyway. So what we're going to do now is quickly take all these seals out, and then we're actually going to jump onto the Metro. Hopefully my brothers will be here by then, so we can turn the Metro around and we can actually put the engine back into the Metro and get the other head off. So let's get cracking.
Shut up and sit down.
So, as you can see, we've completely stripped it. Basically, we've gone through it, we cleaned it back with WD-40. I would have preferred brake cleaner, but I'm on the slows more than I've left it at home. So, the only problem is obviously we don't know what that is. Basically, I think it's some sort of valve seal. The good thing is we've actually got another head. This head is the head we're going to eventually use on the car. So I've cleaned it all back, it's nice and clean now. There's still a little bit of crap in it, but the compressor should be here next week, so we should be able to just blow it down before we put it on. So the plan is now we're actually going to drop the micro off the dollies, put them underneath the Metro, spin the Metro around so we can then put the engine back in. And we're actually going to remove the head off the Alpha engine that we're going to currently use, because obviously we can't get the rocker cover to seat down. We're actually going to do the same for that one. We're actually going to take that one apart because we want the valves at that one, because the valves are good, where I don't trust the valves out of this. There's no major marks on this head on the belt side, not the belt side, sorry, the piston side. There's one little score, but I don't think it'll be anything major. It's not deep, so it's just like a little catch mark. There's a couple little marks on this, but what I'll do is, before we actually put the rocker cover on, I'm going to just go over it with a bit of emery cloth, and basically it's just like little nicks and scores, probably from me using a pry bar to lift the valve stem seals up. But for now this head's done, so we're going to put it to one side and then we're going to crack on with the Metro.
A message for Mouse in the future.
Suck
The
big
robots
floppy
have
donkey dick.
taken over.
Come on, Mouse. Come on, Mouse, get to the chopper.
Jamie, you
Get
must
to the
get
chopper,
to the
Mouse.
chopper now.
Get to the chopper, come on. Ow.
The
To the chopper, come on.
The sake of you finishing this metro.
Ow. Chopper, come on. Cheeseman. This episode of Smoking Retros is brought to you by Farmer Abraham's Blubber Nuggets. They're chewy. Also in association with Blake's Hair Cream. It's not spunk, we promise. Right, anyway, quick, before he comes back.
So, what we're doing is we've just lifted the car up and put it on axle stands. So we're trying to mount this rear sway arm, or whatever you want to call it, to the back of the engine. We're chopped and changed between a couple of different ideas. We might use one off the Micro because it's going to be used. We've got one off the Corsa. There is one on a set, but we can't get it off at the minute, so we're just going to slide underneath the car and see what we can do. I've asked my brother to do some filing for me and he's come up with the most ingenious way ever. I'll say it's the safest, but apparently it's working. So we need to do it. So, we've come up with a plan. We're going to use a Corsa rear engine mount. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to be bolted like that in a way. And we're going to weld a piece of flat across the tunnel on the inside of the Metro. And then basically come off with the little piece of box with a hole drilled through it and basically mount it in that way. It's going to be a bit more rigid, but it should work quite perfectly. So what we might do is once it's welded in, so it'll only be welded in both sides, you might bring some gussets off just to make sure it is nice and firm. So let's get cracking. So then, hopefully what you've just seen is basically the rear engine bar is in. It's basically like a solid mount in a way, but there's enough flex in the actual joint itself to allow it to move. It only needs to move a little bit, so basically it's just to release torsion in the engine. There's loads of clearance now for the drive shafts this side, so it might be the fact we have to maybe cut the tacks off and scoot it back a little bit. Don't know yet. We're not going to focus on the drive shafts too much now. What the plan is I need to get this head off and I need to start disassembling it. That was the idea for today, but whilst I had everyone here, we'll do that. I'm not going to weld it up, one, because I've run out of gas. Unsure why, but I've run out of gas. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put something under the car that will basically hold that, because the jacks won't hold it. So I think I might just use some blocks or something. Hold it in place, because the head is actually bolted to this engine mate, and we're going to pull this head off. So let's get cracking.
Shut up and sit down.
So, as you can see, we've got the other head off the car. We're going to flip it over, we're just going to double check all the valves are actually good. Otherwise we are going to have to think about maybe just getting a new engine. At this stage, I am getting close to just going, we're buying a new Alpha engine. The problem is they're actually quite expensive, so I'm hoping, I've got 16 shots on it. They can get one of them sleeves out that we can put back into that one. We'll figure out, we might just use a piece of wood or something. So we're going to take all the gubbins off the other side and then we'll get cracking pulling it apart. So, if you're all still sat there, fair play to you, and you're all trying to figure out why the hell I've just done it, the main reason is the bolt holes, because it's an alley head, are quite a particular thing. Unfortunately, when we were trying to reassemble it because one bolt had fallen out, we found out that multiple bolts had actually gone, like even the ones on the side that hold the engine mount on, they'd actually gone because it's an alley block. The other one we've got is in actually pretty good condition. It's nice and clean now, as you saw this morning we cleaned it up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to see if I can knock one of these valve stem liners out, as I've just found out that's what they're called apparently. We're going to see if we can take one of these out to replace the one that was broken in that head. So let's get cracking. can see, we're halfway through rebuilding this engine. Well, the top of the engine anyway. So that's the inlet valves all done, all nice and cleaned up. They're actually sitting there quite well, so no dramatics of the sleeve I had to cut out either. That seems to be as tight as all the other ones, so I'm not too worried about that. If we have a problem later on, we have a problem. It's the nature of the beast, sadly. We may even have to change the engine altogether, but hopefully we won't have to, because that's that done. But I'm super happy with what we've done today. I'm super happy with that bar. We might have to move it, but I'm happy as it is for now. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. Hit the like button, drop a comment, subscribe. See you next time.